What's up, buddy? It's what, Jim? I wasn't expecting to do another live stream on my channel this week, but unfortunately, I was going to do a live stream on Jason's channel. He's not got any power, so I had to quickly come up with something. I decided to do a live stream on my channel, and I'm joined by Nick Townsend 505 once again.
Hello.
It's great to have you back on my channel.
Great
I
to be
can't
on.
remember that last time you were on. Was it with Harry Nilsson?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
I think it might be
it was,
Harry Nilsson. But we're comparing the first 6 Beatles albums with the first 6 albums by The Who. The reason why we're not doing all 12, I've not heard all the Who albums yet. I've still got another 4 to get to.
Yeah, you got the 2 80s albums, and then you got the other 2.
Yeah. And after we compare both these albums, we'll see which one is our favourite from them both. And then we'll also see what our favourite song from these first 6 albums are as well. So I guess we'll get started with comparing the Beatles' debut, Please Please Me, with the Who's debut, My Generation.
I'm going to come out and say it. I'm not the biggest fan of the early Beatle albums. They're good. Well, 2 of them are good, and 2 of them I'm just not that into. This is the one of 2 I like. This is a good debut album, and it's a great, blast to the past of how the British invasions kind of started. But I'm just not as into it as I used to be. There are a lot of covers on this album, not as much as the Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones, it's like all
they had
covers.
loads of covers on their debut.
There's like one original, but
just one original.
Yeah, it's not as bad as that, but there are quite a bit of covers. Some work a lot, like Twist and Shout. Of course, that's the one that we all know. And To Go to Him is a great cover. So there are some really good covers, but there are covers like Chains, Boys, Taste of Honey. I'm just not into. I just never cared for Taste of Honey. There are a lot of good originals, of course. Sorry, Standing There. Really like that one. Please Please Me is a good song. Good title track choice. Overall, just a overall good album. So did you give your opinions on Please Please Me now, or do I just pick an album?
Yeah, I'll quickly go through my thoughts on Please Please Me. I think it's a really great debut. I always enjoy going back to this one. But I do agree there are a lot of covers on the albums, but because the Beatles performed these covers so many times, I feel like they make it almost like their own original song. There's so many classic songs on here, of course, like Please Please Me and Love Me Do. It's also got one of the best album closers with Twist and Shout. Yeah, I think it's a really great debut. And the first album by The Who is My Generation, which came out a couple of years later after Please Please Me.
Yeah, 65. I think this is a great debut album. Definitely my favorite. It's up there my favorite debut albums. Arguably the best debut for me. I really like the sort of raw feel to it, kind of. Of course, it has the very famous "My Generation" on it, that's a great song. I really like "The Kids Are All Right." That's another really good song from them. I really like "The Ox." I think it's a slightly stronger closer than Twist and Shout. I love Ed Whistle's bass on it. The bass on it is just great. Besides that, I really like. I think there's some really good songs in here. Out on the Street, great opener. There are 3 covers on this album. 2 James Brown covers. I Don't Mind and Please Please Me. And I'm a Man. I will say the covers are my least favorite songs on the album, but
Probably for me as well.
I don't think they affect the album in a negative way. That just happens to land as my least favorites, but I still really enjoy them. Some really underrated songs on here: "The Good's Gone," "La La La Lies," "It's Not True," I really like Pete Townshend's first song. He sings "A Legal Matter." I just think this is a great album. This is just one of 8 like perfect albums from the Who for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great debut. I especially love the song "The Kids Are All Right." That's probably my favorite song on the album. But of course, you've got the iconic song "My Generation." But I'm curious, which album cover do you prefer? Do you prefer the UK or the US version?
I prefer the UK cover of My Generation because it has them
Yeah, I
looking
think
up.
I do as well. I prefer the outfits they're wearing.
Yeah, I like Entwistle's like UK flag he wears.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. But I'm personally not a big fan of the song "The Ox." It's my least favorite song on the album. I think it's not really a big fan of instrumentals really. It's either going to be one of my favorite tracks from an album or one of my least favorites. And this case, unfortunately, it's my least favorite. So I think overall, I prefer the Beatles debut, and you prefer the Who debut.
Yeah, I prefer the Who debut.
So it's 1-1 at the moment. Then we go to the second Beatles album with the Beatles. What are your thoughts on that one?
With the Beatles, it's a big step down from the debut. I already said it's not one of my favorite debuts, but I think they really the whole having a second album per year thing. We'll notice that for the next 2 albums that like you have a great album, then you have a good album, then you have like a not so good album. I don't really care for With the Beatles. There's some highlights on there. I like the first 3 songs. It Won't Be Long, All I Really Got to Do, and All My Loving. Those are great songs, but it goes downhill after that. I really don't like Don't Bother Me. That's a lousy George Harrison song. It was his first song, so I don't really blame him. Little Child is lousy. Still There Was You. I don't like at all. I really like Please Mr. Postman, though. I think John Lennon does a great job singing that song. Then you flip the record over and you get Roll Over Beethoven, which that's a lousy cover. Hold Me Tight, I think is a really underrated song. I really like the way
Yeah,
that Paul.
I've always enjoyed that one.
Mm-hmm. And then it goes downhill again. You really got a hold on me. I want to be your man. Devil in Her Heart. I don't like those songs. I really like Not a Second Time though, and Money. That's What I Want is a lousy closer. So there's either really good songs on this album or really not so good songs. So it's not an album I go back to that much.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorite Beatles albums either. It's my least favorite Beatles album, if not including the Yellow Submarine. I think it's the second side for me. I'm not as crazy on the second side of the album, but I think it starts off excellent. I think it starts off even better than Please Please Me, with it won't be long and all I've got to do. But it just like a debut. There's a lot of covers on here. And I like Money. That's what I want as the album closer. But I feel like it's trying to be a bit like Twist and Shout. It's just not as good of a version. So yeah, I think it's a great follow up, but I think it was a slightly disappointing one from the debut.
Okay.
That we got for the Who. We've got a quick one, which as the title suggests, it's quite a quick album.
Yeah, 10 songs, 32 minutes. Really like this album. I really like the opening song Run Run Run. That's a great opener. Boris the Spider, even though it's goofy and dumb, I really like that song. I Need You. I really like the Keith Moon song track. He sounds a little bit like Pete Townsend on it. When I first heard the song, I thought it was Pete Townsend. Whiskey Man, probably one of my favorite songs from the album. Has one cover on this album, Heat Wave. I think they do a great job at reenacting that song. Cobwebs and Strange, I will admit, is the weakest song on the album, but I really like the drums on it. I think Keith Moon goes nuts on it. Side 2, I really like it. It has a lot of great pop songs. Don't Look Away, See My Way, which is the only song on a Who album that have Roger Daltrey writing on it. So Sad About Us, that's a great song. And a quick one, that's a quick one. It's just a great song. I think it's an
Yeah.
awesome album closer. What's cool about this album is that every Who member writes on it. It's kind of like a Beatles album, really. Like every member gets their fair share of writing on it, and this feels more like a Beatles album than it does a Who album at times. And I don't know if I should consider that to be a bad thing, but since the songs are really good, I'm going to consider it a good thing.
So I'll give my thoughts on the album. Yeah, I think it's really great. It's definitely got the best song to last though, with Critical while he's away. It's one of the best Who album closers. I think it's up there with Twist and Shout as some of the best album closers out there. But I think the rest of the stuff is pretty good as well. I especially love the song "Run Run Run." I think that's a really good one. And "Don't Look Away." I think it's quite underrated one.
Mm-hmm.
I also love the song "So Sad About Us." I think that's also a really underrated song. So yeah, I do prefer the quick one to with the Beatles.
So do I.
Yeah. So it's the thing. What's the score then?
For me, it's 2-0. For you, it's 1-1.
Yeah. So we're going to the third album. I think it's going to get slightly harder to compare the albums now. I found those two pretty easy to compare. But we've got the Beatles' Hard Day's Night with the Who Sellout. We'll start with the Hard Day's Night.
This is for me, this is an easy choice, but I'll save that for when we make our decision. Hard Day's Night is a huge step up from the debut album. I'm not gonna say huge step up from the previous album because that's like a step down, but this is a big step up from the debut album. I really like A Hard Day's Night. That's a great song. Again, I think the first three songs really kill it. A Hard Day's Night, I Should Have Known Better, If I Fell. Those are great first three songs. Not the biggest fan of I'm Happy Just to Dance With You. I feel like it would have been better if John Lennon would have sang on it because he wrote it, but he gave it to Harrison. I don't think that was the best idea because I don't think George Harrison's vocals in the first four albums were really that strong. And I love her, great song. Tell Me Why is a really good song. I said this on the review on Jacob's channel. I'm not the biggest fan of Can't Buy Me Love. I'm not a fan of Anytime at All. I'll Cry Instead. Those are not my favorites. Really like Things We Said Today. That's a great song. When I Get Home, I really do not like that song. Love You Till the Cows Come Home. Dumb lyric. But the last two songs are really good, though. You Can't Do That and I'll Be Back. Definitely one of the better album closers. I'll Be Back. So it's a good album, but it's not a great album yet.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic album. Pretty much from start to finish. Probably, I'm happy just to dance with you. Is my least favorite song on the album. Maybe I would have liked it more if John sang it. I don't know. But the album starts off fantastic with A Hard Day's Night. I should know better. And If I Fell. But my favorite track on the album is And I Love Her.
It's a good choice.
But I think other than I'm happy just to dance with you. I think the rest of the third side is fantastic. I think the second side is pretty great as well. I love Any Time at All. I think I'll Be Back is quite an underrated Beatles song. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Hard Day's Night. And then we got the Who Sellout.
I made no secret to anyone, any other channel. This is my favorite album of all time. So I feel like this is gonna be a very easy. This is like a very easy battle. I don't think any Beatle album could beat this album. So even my favorite Beatles album couldn't beat this one. So it was kind of an unfair match, to be honest. But going into my brief thoughts on it, it's like a psychedelic sort of like mishmash of radio ads and just great pop songs. It's so different. I don't think any other band or artist came close to being this creative with an album, and for that alone, it's definitely in my at least my top 3 albums of all time. But as it stands, this is my favorite album of all time. I could go through each track and say how great those are, but if I go on to how great this album is, I'll be on here forever. So I'll let
It
Adam.
might as well be a review.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to keep us here forever. So I'll let you give your brief thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic album as well. I thought it was really great when I first heard it, but when I heard it a second time, I thought it was amazing. It's quite a lot of excellent songs on here. I'll just go through a few of them. We'll talk about the Tattoo. Tattoo is an excellent one. I'm just going through some of them that I gave 10 out of 10. I Can See for Miles is my favorite song on the album. That gets a 10 out of 10, of course. And the second side, you've got the song I Can't Reach You, which I think is a brilliant song. Especially when it gets to the chorus, it's probably the highlight of the album for me. When they sing the chorus of that song. But I think it's also got two fantastic. Well, it's got a fantastic album opener and an album closer as well. I also think this album is just the right length. It's not too long. It's not too short either. But I'm gonna have to give it to A Hard Day's Night though. But they're still both brilliant albums. That we go. That we compare Beatles for Sale with Tommy by the Who.
Okay. This is another easy choice for me, but here's my brief thoughts on the Who. Not the Who. The Beatles for Sale album. Yeah, I do not like this album at all. I made this very clear. I do not like this album. This is the only good song on this album is 8 Days a Week, and granted, 8 Days a Week is a masterpiece, but besides that, I do not like this album. This is this could be another easy battle for me.
I really like this album, personally. I think it starts off with 2 fantastic Beatles songs with No Reply, and I'm a Loser. I'm trying to look at what other tracks are on it. Yeah, I'll follow this song. It's my favorite track on the album. 8 Days a Week's a classic. I also like that they did a Buddy Holly cover with Words of Love, but I personally would have chosen a different Buddy Holly song to cover. Maybe they could have covered Peggy Sue or That Could Be the Day instead, because Words of Love has never been one of my favorite Buddy Holly songs. It was the What You're Doing and Every Little Thing. I think they're both underrated, but I don't think Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby should have been the album closer. And it's a bit of a shame that George Harrison was singing the cover song. It felt a bit like a step back with what he was doing on The Hard Day's Night, which was singing an original song. He's not even singing an original song here. So I do think the covers are probably some of the weakest covers the Beatles did. But I think the original stuff on this album is fantastic.
Okay.
And then for the Who, also got their big double album, Tommy.
This album I really enjoy.
Behind me, yeah.
So
album.
You have this cool concept of a boy that goes deaf, dumb, and blind. I think it's a cool concept of him trying to figure himself out again, sort of. It's just a cool story. Of course, the music's amazing. There's some like I said, I could be going on about this album forever with the story and all that, but I'll just go over my favorite songs on the album. Eyesight to the Blind, I really enjoy. Really like Christmas. Cousin Kevin's amazing. Really like The Acid Queen. Pinball Wizard, great song. Go to the Mirror, my favorite song in that album. Tommy, Can You Hear Me? Really like that song. Sally Simpson is really underrated. I really like I'm Free, Welcome, We're Not Gonna Take It. Side 4, really. I think the last side of this album is perfect. Even the Tommy's Holiday Camp song, I find myself enjoying. It's goofy and dumb enough for me to not hate it. Not that, but it's not long either. It has just enough goofiness for me to like it. So yeah, Tommy, it's a fantastic album.
Yeah, I think it's really great. There's funny information on it. Yeah, I think it's a really great concept album. It's a pretty. It's got quite a lot of short songs as well, so it goes by quite quick when we're listening to all the sides. But I'll just go through some of my favorite songs from it. 1921. I love the whole story in that one as well. Also, Pinball Wizard. That's a big Who's Who song. Obviously, Elton John made it famous as well. I also love Go to the Mirror. That's also the same size Pinball Wizard. And Welcome. That one's fantastic as well. There's quite a few fantastic songs on it. But I don't think it's an amazing album though, because I do think the whole concept of the album could have been a little bit better, in my opinion. But for this comparison, I've got to give it to the Who, for Tommy over Beatles for Sale.
Okay,
A bit of a no-brainer, if you ask me.
I was really hoping you were going to pick Tommy. For a second, I thought you were going to pick Beatles for Sale. Which
No,
even if you did, I would have respected your opinion. You know, I'm not going to force you to pick otherwise.
But now we're comparing two masterpieces of albums. You've got the Beatles' Help versus the Who. Who's next?
Ooh. You know what? This is definitely the hardest challenge so far, I must say. But brief thoughts on Help.
We're not.
This is
We're not
yeah.
the ones on Tommy. Yeah, we prefer Tommy with Beatles' Sale. Yeah.
For me, it's a no-brainer. But Help might be. Oh, sorry. Actually, for me, it's not a no-brainer. I think this is actually a really difficult choice. I like both albums a lot. If you watch Jacob Martin's channel, we were just reviewing this album. I really enjoyed this album. It's funny, I reviewed this album yesterday. Well, I'm not sure about you. Not yesterday, but we reviewed this album recently, and I think this is an incredible album. Help, The Night Before, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, I Need You, Another Girl, You're Gonna Lose That Girl, Ticket to Ride, the greatest side one ever for me. Then you flip the record over and you got high quality stuff on there too. Act Naturally, It's Only Love, You Like Me Too Much, Tell Me What You See, I've Just Seen a Face, and Yesterday. Those, even Dizzy Miss Lizzy, I really enjoy. Granted, Dizzy Miss Lizzy should have never been the album closer, but I still enjoy it enough for me to not dock it for being a 10 out of 10 album. I love this album. This is a really, really good Beatle album. My favorite Beatle album. Just gonna go out and say that.
I can see why. It's brilliant. So it's always brilliant from start to finish. It has got one of the best Beatles first sides. Every single song is top notch. It's top notch stuff. But I agree that Dizzy Miss Lizzy shouldn't have been the album closer. I still think it's really great, but it shouldn't have been the album closer. I think Yesterday would have been a much better album closer.
I agree.
Yeah, Yesterday's my favorite song on the album, but I love Ticket to Ride and You're Going to Lose That Girl, and also The Night Before. I Need You is quite underrated George Harrison song. I've always liked you like me too much as well. I've always enjoyed that one. But yeah, we're now going to be talk about who's next from my favorite year of music, 1971.
Who's Next is a great album. I said this to the group chat already. Every album that had Keith Moon on drums on it, from 65 to 78, are 10 out of 10 albums for me. This is no exception to that. I think this is a perfect album. However, this is not one of my favorite Who albums. I always rank it lower than most people do. Most people have this as their favorite album. But going to the track listing, though, I think Bob O'Reilly is a fantastic album opener. Definitely one of the top Who songs. Bargain's a great song. Loving for Keeping's amazing. I really like My Wife, and The Song Was Over is absolutely fantastic. Flip over to side 2. Got Going Mobile, not Going Mobile up. Gain in Tune, that's a great song. Going Mobile isn't one of my favorites on the album, but I've grown to love that song over time. Behind Blue Eyes is really good, and Won't Get Fooled Again is a good album closer. So overall, I got a perfect album. This is gonna be a difficult choice because I think both albums are perfect.
Well, I'm gonna have to go with Who's Next. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. It's in my top 5 albums of all time. Yeah, I think it's pretty much perfect from start to finish. Barbara O'Reilly is one of the best album openers, and Won't Get Fooled Again, one of the best album closers. It's also got about 3 of my top 5 Who songs on this album. Bargain, I think it's brilliant, and Behind Blue Eyes is a classic. But my personal favorite song on the album is just the song It's Over. I think it's very underrated. Love everything about that song. I also think My Wife might be Giant Whistle's best song he wrote, in my opinion. Getting in Tune is brilliant. I think there's only 2 songs on the album I wouldn't give it 10 out of 10, and that's My Wife, although it's my favorite Whistle song, and also whether his favorite is Going Mobile. But I still think it's a really catchy song. It gets stuck in my head, that chorus. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Who. With the
Honestly,
Beatles.
I'm gonna go with the Who, but only because Dizzy Miss Lizzy should have never been the album closer, and Won't Get Fooled Again is an outstanding closer.
One of the best album closers.
Exactly, and you say you're going with the Who, right? As well, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we're going to compare the Beatles Rubber Soul with another Who concept album, and this one's Quadrophenia.
Okay. As for Rubber Soul, I really like Rubber Soul. I think that's a fantastic Beatles album. I like the direction that they went with, sort of like a more folksy direction. I really like Norwegian Wood, You Won't See Me, Nowhere Man, Think for Yourself, The Word, Michelle, Girl, In My Life. That's a masterpiece. If I Needed Someone, just these high quality Beatles songs. But my 2 big gripes with the album, though, is Drive My Car is not a good album opener, and Run for Your Life is not a good album closer. And What Goes On is a good country song sung by Ringo, but it sticks out like a sore thumb compared to the rest of the songs, and just those two problems alone kind of make this decision easy for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Run for Your Life shouldn't be the album closer. It's probably the weakest song on the album. But Drama Car, the brilliant album opener. No, not Norwegian Wood, one of the first songs to use the sitar. Noah Man's one of the Beatles' best. But in my life is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's my second favorite Beatles song, and I'll just say it's my favorite Beatles song from these first 6 albums. As for the Who, my favorite Who song in general is the song. The song is over. But back to Rubber Soul. I'm looking through you, and you won't see me. I think Wait's a very underrated Beatles song. Rubber Soul is my third favorite album of all time. So it gets a bronze medal for my third favorite album, and it probably would even be my second favorite if Run for Your Life wasn't the album closer. But I still think it's a pretty great song. But it's an album that's filled with excellent songs.
Cool. Yeah.
Quadrophenia.
Yeah, Quadrophenia is this amazing double album. I thought Tommy was good, but like not good. I thought it was a perfect 10 out of 10 album. But this album is you take all the best qualities of Tommy and you elevate that to a billion. The bass playing on this is amazing. The drumming on this is amazing. Pete Townshend's guitar playing and songwriting is at an all-time high. And Daltrey, he is singing his heart out on this one.
Yeah.
This is just one of the all-time great albums. It's just so good. So many great rockers on here. Real Me is amazing. Punk and the Godfather. Helpless Dancer. I've Had Enough. 515. Even Bellboy I really like. Love Rain or Me. Just one of the all-time great closers for The Who. This is just the perfect album. This is an album that sends you on a journey, and this is just awesome. I love this album. To me, there's no flaws to this album.
Yeah, I think it's excellent. Definitely. I'll just find my notes on it. I've got a whole list of notes on all the Who albums I've heard. But the real Me is one of my favorites. Of course, the title track, which isn't instrumental, but I'm actually a big fan of this instrumental. Cut My Hair is fantastic as well. I'm One is one of my favorite songs of the album. Is It In My Head? It's one of my favorites. I've Had Enough is also up there. 515 is one of the better rocker sort of songs on the album. I also love Dr. Jimmy and Love Rain Over Me is probably my favorite Who album closer. I think it's an epic song. But as Rubber Soul's the third favorite album of all time, I've got to go Rubber Soul. But Quadrophenia, I think it's a bit of an underrated album. I think that's really good.
I'm going for Quadrophenia. It's a top 5 album for me in general. So it's kind of like you, but for me with Quadrophenia, this is just, like I said, it's a magnum opus album. It's just so good. There's so many great things about it. Rubber Soul.
Is it your second favorite Who album?
Yes, it's my second favorite Who album. It's I love this album. I really like Rubber Soul, but like I said, there's a couple of nitpicks I have about it that prevent it from overtaking Quadrophenia. So My final score is 6-0. For you, it's 3-3.
Yeah. So I've got to figure out a way to decide my winner.
Yeah.
But I'll probably just have to probably say the Beatles because they are my favorite band of all time.
Well, yeah. Well, my score isn't tied at all. So
Yeah.
my favorite band is still the Who, by a long shot.
But I think the Beatles and the Who both have really strong first six albums. I'm looking forward to doing the same for the last 6 albums.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So what's your favorite? Well, what I think your favorite Who song from all these 6 albums is Rail, isn't it?
Real. Yes.
Rail. Mine for the Who is of course the song is over. But what would your favorite be for the Beatles?
My favorite song out of all 6 of these Beatles songs, I mean, out of all these 6 Beatle albums, I'm going to go with In My Life.
Yeah, In My Life for me as well. Yesterday, of course, is up there as well.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the songs from Rubber Soul, though. There's definitely one of the songs from Rubber Soul for me.
But before we do this, I want to talk about other bands and artists a part of the British invasion. Of course, you've got the Animals and the Kinks as well.
The Hollies.
Yeah, the Hollies, another big one. I think that, and of course, the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, get the Hermits, the Zombies, the Trogs. There's so many different British invasion artists, both popular and obscure.
The Who is my second favourite British invasion band. And of course, the Beatles is my number one.
My number one will always be the Who from the British invasion. I was comparing my favorite band and my second favorite band, Queen, and even Queen was outbeaten by the Who by a lot. So, and I was comparing the first 8 albums from each band. So, don't feel bad for me giving it 6-0 for the Beatles. Even my second favorite band had no choice against the Who. So, there's that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for going on this unexpected live stream, Nick.
Oh, it was a pleasure being on. Sorry for the running. My niece and nephew are over.
That's okay. But I don't know what made me think of doing this live stream. I just thought of an idea of comparing the first 6 Beatles albums with the Who.
And it was a really good idea.
Yeah. So I really enjoy doing it.
Me too.
Thanks everyone watching. Please let us know your thoughts on these albums in the comment section below. Until next time, ciao. Goodbye.